Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another live episode of Jacob's Ladder. June 6th, 2024 is known better as the 80th anniversary of D-Day. Isn't that swell? A lot of weird things happening on June 6th, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm Jacob Israel. If you're new to the show, I take world events and I kind of speculate, and I've been doing it for a long time. And I've noticed the trend of a lot of weird things coming together on a certain day. A lot of big name celebrities like Joe Rogan and others, Tucker Carlson, they're all talking about Sumerian mythology and the Anunnaki and Nibiru. What's weird about this is these are topics that basically launched my channel back in the day. I had weird vibes and I had weird dreams and I had a lot of weird coincidence around a certain planet named Nibiru and its sun known as the dark star called Nemesis. Ironically, a weird dream that I had, a terrible nightmare about all this stuff. It launched my channel 8 years ago. 8 is a very symbolic and spiritual number. I think you're all here in the live chat. I see even Real McCoy, Patty, Neil, Double O is in the house. Juan is in the house. Medic's in the house. Everybody's here. Hit the like for me. The number 8, the Ouroboros, or the Meta logo. You know what Meta means in Hebrew, right? It means death, dead. That Ouroboros, that snake eating its own tail, it's like the end of a cycle. In scripture, the number 8 means new beginnings. It's interesting. But what's really strange to me is the fact that tomorrow, my friends, is it's D-Day. It's D-Day. Yeah. It's the 80th anniversary of D-Day, if you will. Happens tomorrow. It was really strange because I already had a show that I was talking about and I was excited about and I was praying about, and I was just incredibly ecstatic and a little fearful, a little trepidatious about this one because it's a little concerning. When you by the end of the show, you'll see how all of this stuff kind of is linked together. 6/6/2024. If you look at the numbers, like even the Donut just put out a show. If you look at the numbers, you put 6, 6, and then you got 2, 4, 2 plus 4, 6. Last year we did it 6, 6, 2 times 3 is 6, 6, 6, 6. And last year on 666, there was a game that was released. It was called Diablo. And there was a character, and if you're new to the show, you're going to have to Google this because I didn't put up a slide, but I've talked about it plenty on the show. There was a character named Lilith, known as the Queen of the Demons. This is actually a mythological thing and also a biblical thing, because what ends up happening in the scriptures is the Queen of the Demons comes down when people are totally corrupt, and it like brings judgment, brings retribution on the people. This is very significant. So last year we had this. We also had Tucker Carlson launching his show on 6/6/2023 last year. Launched his show. And I think you're going to have to go back and check, but I think that there was some kind of like 666 from when he actually was fired or let go or whatever it was. Who knows? Everything's very mathematical. You'll find in life that everything is linked together. But this is just one of those shows that it's like it kept me up all night. It gave me some bad dreams. And once again, all we're doing is we're speculating. But there's a lot of energy, if you will. There's a lot of stuff going on. Let's first talk about D-Day and how incredibly important that was to the military, because that's when the tide turned. That's when the forces of UK, US, Canada, France, they attacked the German forces in Normandy. northern France. The battle began with some 156,000 American, British, Canadian forces landing on 5 breaches along a 50-mile stretch. This is the 80th anniversary of it. We're marking the 80th anniversary of that, the number 8. Why am I making a big deal out of this? Because you're going to find out on this show, all of these things are connected to that number. And all of these things are connected to some kind of a retribution that is brought upon man because they're like, we don't care about you, God. It's freaky. We're going to talk about Elon Musk today. We're going to talk about Trump today. We're going to talk about Joe Rogan today. We're going to talk about all of these big, they're all honing in on a similar story, which is weird. Ryan Garcia, you know who this guy is? He's a boxer. He's a very interesting young man. If you follow celebrity boxing and all, you know Jake Paul, he's a YouTuber, and him and his brother Logan and everything else. Well, he was going to have this huge fight. I think it was going to be on like Netflix. It was like a big deal between him and Mike Tyson. Mike, who's a couple of years older than me. I'm about to be 53 on June 11th, by the way. Happy birthday, Jacob, right? I'm so excited. I don't know why this year I'm more excited about my birthday than before. Dan, every day I wake up, I'm like, what day is it? And I'm like, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. I'm like counting the days to my birthday. I don't know why. Ryan Garcia, though, he was counting the days to 6/6. That's tomorrow, people. Ryan Garcia, he's a celebrity boxer. He has done and said some horrible things, supposedly. He has strung some stories together. I think, in all of my honest opinion that I can give to you, and once again, I don't have any inside scoop. I don't have any, like legit predictions where I know things. I just kind of like look at the world and I say, I have a feeling. This guy says on June 6th, 2024, he said, that's it. There's going to be a huge earthquake. He predicted it. Shadow of Ezra, you follow him on X. I think he follows me. I think he's a fan of the channel. He put it out that he had predicted this massive earthquake that was going to happen tomorrow in Los Angeles and in Las Vegas. I spoke about Ryan Garcia just a little while ago, because of course, when he was talking about all that, I thought it was strange. I put it in my video with all the other sus people, Russell Brand, Joe Rogan. I did like this whole show about things that just a little questionable. Like, who do we trust? That's the whole vibe. Who do you trust? You trust me? Don't trust just me. Go pray about things. Judge a tree by its fruit. Judge a tree by its fruit. If somebody's like a corrupt person doing mean things, you probably shouldn't judge their opinion. If they're making up lies and they're saying all sorts of horrible things and they're doing dumb things like this guy, it's a good call. Maybe if he has any info, maybe it's not in our best interest, but if he's sharing that info, it's probably cap. You know what cap is? That's what the young people call lying. Cap. Is that still a thing? Cap? What do you gotta tell me? Casey, is that still a thing? Buzz? Spitfire? Is cap still a thing? I don't know. I think this is cap. A little while ago, he in that video, I reminded everybody how excited he was when he saw Trump and he shadow boxed. He was making all sorts of noises, and he shadow boxed for Trump. Do you know what a shadow box illusion is? It's interesting. Now, maybe I'm digging too deep into this, but by the end of the show, I'm making a strong case for the susness of this all. A shadow box is an illusion that was originally attributed to Fu Manchu, which involves a frame box covered in cloth and paper. The box is turned around on its base and it's open to reveal it's completely empty. Handheld lights are shown through the fabric to show that nothing's hidden, the box is closed, and the light is placed inside. It's a flip-flop-a-roo. You think you're seeing something, but it's empty. It's not real. It's not there. It disappears. Shadow box in there. Shadow box. little bit of boxing was going on. I think it was on Fox News. After the 34 indictments went down. Oh yeah, you know what? Before we go there, let's take a listen to Ryan, so you know that I'm not making up stories here. He actually did say, let me just change the speed on this too. So I don't know. Sometimes I worry. You know, they're weird. All right, so you just take a listen.
I understand that, Jesus is coming back, and I have predicted that there will be earthquake June 6th.
June 6th? June 6th?
Any specific location or
LA and Vegas.
On June 6th?
On June 6th of 2024.
I mean...
All right, that's what I'm going to leave it with.
Yeah. He's like, yeah.
Everybody get
the
hell out of Los Angeles.
All right. It's very strange. It's very strange to me. Very strange to me. And they're making light of it. They're making jokes of it. He's like, oh yeah, it's going to happen. How would he know? First thing he starts off is like, oh, the Lord Jesus Christ. This is all these people with the Lord Jesus Christ told me. But you got to judge a tree by its fruit. If you know Christ, you're going to probably live a life that is Christ-like. Jesus said that if you say you know me, but you don't do as I do, you don't know me. You don't know me. It's impossible to know Christ unless you're doing the works of Christ. If there's a trail of unchrist-like behavior, you don't know the Lord. I don't consider myself to be that great guy. I'm a very simple man. I wake up in the morning very early with the Dan, and the Ethan. We have breakfast and everything else. I walk her to her car, and I start on X. Follow me on X. It's Jacob Israel 71. I'm having a problem talking today. At X.com, the old Twitter. Follow me there. I start off by my posting. Then I go to the gym. What do? I pray. Like this morning, I prayed. I'm like, what am I missing? Because I was already doing this June 6th show. This was a big deal. I already had my thumbnail and everything else. And look at that thumbnail. You know who created this thumbnail? AI. I asked ChatGPT to create Ouchie, to create Garcia. And what I did was, because of course, as the story goes in the Old Testament, Nebuchadnezzar comes on in and takes on over. It's kind of like this is what's happening. So I'm like, make Elon like a Sumerian ruler, or make Rogan like this, and make Trump like a Babylonian wizard. And this is what it comes up with. Because it's interesting. On D-Day tomorrow, the 80th anniversary, is the SpaceX launch. SpaceX is launching as well. So you got all this stuff. You got Ryan Garcia talking about this. And we talk about how, he says, oh, Jesus told him, so there's going to be an earthquake, right? Why does this get my attention? Because, of course, there's a lot of other things happening on the 6th. There's the new moon, which is happening on a major Hindu holiday, which honors the god Saturn. So there's so much. It's very strange. But a tree is known by its fruit. The Trumpster was just asked recently, Donnie Darkened. He's such a nice young man. He fan of the channel. So he asked, he was, what's about Donald Trump's relationship with God? I'm just going to let the clip speak for itself. And I thought that all of you should probably just take a listen. I'm going to change the playback speed. And, a lot of people it's a big deal. What is he saying? The evangelicals like him. But here was his question. What's your relationship with God? Just take a listen to this.
This is Sharon from Alabama. And I think her question actually ties into what we were just talking about. How do you do this? And I know that you've said before that you've been sustained by the prayers of lots of Americans. I've seen pictures of people praying over you.
It's incredible, actually.
Her question is, she says, you've been faced with so much adversity and persecution for years. What's your relationship with God like? And how do you pray? That's Sharon from Alabama.
Okay, so I think it's good. I do very well with the evangelicals. I love the evangelicals. And I have more people saying they pray for me. I can't even believe it. And they are so committed, and they're so believing. They say, sir, you're going to be okay. I pray for you every night. I mean, everybody, almost, I can't say everybody, but almost everybody that sees me, they say it. It's such a beautiful thing. You know what's a beautiful thing, too? when you look at
It's just interesting that the longer we listen, it's kind of like, they were asking a simple question about his personal relationship. And let him
this
finish.
bad stuff going on, they have nothing to look up to. They have no God. They have no anything. They kill people. They beat people. They push people into subways. There's just nothing there. Religion is such a great thing. It keeps you. There's something to be good about. You want to be good. It's so important. And I don't know if it's explained right. I don't know if I'm explaining it right now. But when you have something like that, you want to be good. You want to go to heaven. Okay? You want to go to heaven. If you don't have heaven, you almost say, what's the reason? Why do I have to be good? Let's not be good. What difference does it make? Right? Or they try to create heaven here.
Very strange. He doesn't really answer the question, Cindy said in the live chat. Very strange. You would think that he would just answer the question. My relationship is good. I really do. I kind of like every day I pray. I understand that I need a responsibility. I have a responsibility to do the right thing. He didn't say bad stuff. My hope for the Trumpster, and my take, because, of course, I had that weird dream, and I've been saying for years he's going to come back stronger than ever before, and everybody's going to love him, everybody's going to want him. I've been saying it for years, long before other people were saying it. Not that that gives me any kind of credibility, but it does kind of, lend to, maybe the speculation stuff that I'm doing is, maybe I got a gift. People like with the sports, they kind of predict what's going to happen. Maybe this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. I just want to do God's will. I want to do the right thing. So here he is, right? And a lot of people really just love this guy. And I want to root for the guy. And I hoped that, like, the story of, because I compared him many times to Nebuchadnezzar, where Nebuchadnezzar was like the proudest and the strongest ruler. He had a lot of hubris. This is important. This is something that Elon said that was connected to the Starship launch that's coming tomorrow. And this is huge. And this is connected to Nibiru and the Anunnaki, believe it or not. It's freaky. It's weird. This is why I really hope that by now, I hope you hit the like button. I hope you, I forget to tell people. Got like almost 1,000 people here. Come on down, smash the like. Make sure you share the channel around so old Jacob, can reach more people. Get people ready for tomorrow. I have vibes about these things. I have vibes about these things. So he's got the launch going. Trump, he was like a little bit like Nebuchadnezzar. He's like, I'm the chosen one. I'm the best. I'm the this. I did that. He still hasn't rolled back some of the things that he said about the wackadoo. That's, whatever. Maybe he still believes in it. It is what it is. My hope, because I believe that he's going to be put in place, I believe that I hope that maybe God has worked on his heart. Maybe, God doesn't use the most righteous people to do what God wants. If there's a corrupt nation, sometimes you need somebody who knows how to handle corrupt people. I can't tell you if this is a good thing or a bad thing. I can't tell you. I just know that it is a God thing and that it is coming, if this is what we need. Hubris. So what happens with Nebuchadnezzar is he has all this hubris. He says, look at everything that I created. Look at everything that I did. And God's like, you know what? I'm going to knock you down a peg or two. And he ends up he turns into a beast, believe it or not. Yeah, that word beast is what you find in scriptures, like the Antichrist, is like the beast. It's not great, but he returns to God. The story of Nebuchadnezzar is he returns to God. He comes to his right mind, and he honors God with the little time that he has left. His children afterwards don't do such a great job, but at least this guy who was corrupt and drunk on power and everything else, God smacked him down, took everything away from him, gave him a taste of what it was like to have nothing, gave him another shot. This time he's like, I'll try to do the right thing. This is my hope for the Trumpster. I can't tell you it's true. I wish I felt it was true. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, if I were to tell you what I worry about the future of people speaking truthfully from a place of, goodwill. I worry about myself, to be honest. I mean, so much so, I put it in the chapter of my book. It's very, you should get a copy of it on Amazon.com. It's a fiction, but there's more to it. I put something in there as a proof because I had a vibe of what was coming. And so far, so good. It's all happening. But there's a lot of weird things happening that are connected to this June 6th. It's June 6th. Before I get into the Starship launch, let's talk about some of the planets. Huge alignment just went down. A rare 6-planet alignment started on June 3rd. Wow, we got over 1,000 people watching. We only got like less than half the likes. That's right. Fish Toledo says 1,000 watching, only 400 likes. Come on. What does a guy got to do? I don't think you know, but when you do, the earlier you hit it, the quicker it tells. Like if I got a lot of likes at first, it would then go out to everybody. And it is kind of a time essential type of a video, right? Because video is connected to tomorrow, which is not that far away. But on June 3rd, there was a rare 6-planet alignment. An event that was captured in that picture, if you could see kind of like the picture, yeah, you can't really see much, but you see little dots. So that's a real picture of all the 6 planets in alignment. But these planets aligning at this moment in time, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, these planets all aligning together. It holds some weight. A lot of people, I'm not into the astrology stuff, but there are a lot of people, you know how the moon is connected to the tides in the water? You know that the more the moon goes away, the more the earth will begin to wobble. And it's moving away centimeters like every year or something. There's something about when the planets come together, there's a lot of energy. It was weird because I have this app called Starlight app, I think it's called. And you can like hold your phone up and you can see where all the planets are. And so I showed the Dan on June 3rd. I went like, oh, and they were like, all right, beneath us. It was like the line was right beneath us. And I was like, whoa, I feel the energy. A lot of people feeling the energy. A lot of people talking about the Schumann resonance and talking about these solar flares and the solar activity, the odd solar activity that all of a sudden is a big thing. I talked about solar flares back in the day now and then. Now I find myself looking at solar flares and solar information like every other day. It's very interesting. Something's going on with our sun. Sort of predicted this years ago too, because I talked about how if there really were 2 bodies, say we got like 2 body, we got like a body that's way out there. And according to Bakin and Constantine, I think that's their names, and they're from Caltech University. Before anybody would say, oh, there is a Nibiru or anything else, they always said it was hogwash. And I said, oh, soon they're going to start saying that it's true. Because if it is true, at some point they got to like start to leak out the information so that when it gets here, people have known for a while, we've been looking for it. Now here it is. Nobody can blame the people for hiding it. So it was like a year after I started talking about this, all of a sudden, you know, even NASA rolled back their stance saying that Planet 9, Planet X, that it didn't exist. Now they're like, oh, it may exist because of how it perturbs other planets. So you imagine everything's kind of like has some kind of a charge. You put it towards something else that has another charge. It wobbles things and it pushes things around, like bringing magnets together. I don't know if that's a good explanation, but you get the idea. If you have this body that comes in every, I don't know if it's, some people say 36,000 years, some people say it's like 7,000 years. Everybody has a different idea. But if you have these things coming in, these 2 separate, almost like universes, I guess, is that what you call them, universes? And they come in together. That's when like stuff like Jonah, not Jonah, when like Noah's flood happens. That's all these stories like the Epic of Gilgamesh and all of these stories, all these things, all of a sudden everybody's talking about. Tucker Carlson was just talking about the Anunnaki and Nibiru and the Nephilim. He was saying there's something, But this is like a spiritual thing. Oh, you think? All of a sudden, you think? Everybody's getting Jesus now. And I got to tell you something. I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think that people should go to God. I don't think people should go to like their favorite influencer who's smoking a cigar and used to be like somebody who trafficked people. You know, people have a tendency of making heroes out of people that are not great. You know, not great. It's really kind of sad. But it is what it is, you know. So when there was this crazy alignment that took place with these 6 planets that happened in the sky, you know, I was already kind of like, there's something weird going on. Something weird. And the weirdness just continues. So as I'm preparing for this show to share with all of you, because I'm not one of those guys, listen, I'm not going to be like, oh, you know, say your prayers tonight, kiss your loved ones. I think you should. I don't think any cataclysmic event is going to happen tomorrow. In fact, I'm praying against such a thing. I got like a something that is unexplainable I'm going to share with you very shortly on the show. As I was putting this show together, and I was praying, because I do pray a lot, like all the time. I do believe in the things that I say. I don't know any of it to be true. I just, you know, I'm a guy who likes to look outside of the box. So when I start seeing all of these things that are happening, you know, that's the Starship launch on January 6th, I thought was I just felt, it felt weird, because I remember last year, June 6, 2023, when there was smoke everywhere, the whole thing felt like, you know, the devil's come down upon you. Remember, I brought that scripture up, the passage. Woe unto you, the inhabitants and the dwellers of this system. The devil's come onto you and is filled with what? Wrath. Alan, thank you very much, my brother Alan's always been such a great supporter of the channel. God bless you, man. Thank you for the super chat. Wrath. But rejoice, you who dwell in heaven. Isn't that funny? So the people that are corrupt and wicked and doing horrible things, the scriptures say, woe to you. It's going to suck, you inhabitants of the earth. But rejoice those who dwell in heaven. And what does it mean to dwell in heaven? God says, my ways are above the earth as my ways are above man's ways as the heavens are above the earth. The heavens, those who dwell in the ways of God, rejoice. Get excited about this time. Don't worry. I've said when Israel was set free from Egypt, it was scary, right? You had all these crazy plagues happening, people getting together. Oh, come on, we got to get the hell out of here. They're all getting together. There was like 1 million of them. How do you take 1 million people and they're going to the desert? They don't know where they are. They only got like their stuff on their back. People forget they left. God made sure of it. They left with all the treasures. The enemy came on, and God said, yeah, you take all their stuff with you. You take all of their stuff with you. So you may be broke right now. Could you imagine? You're broke. You're living in a hut. You're working so hard. You got to worry about wearing something to work. It's ridiculous. Or you're going to lose your job if you don't get this or you get that. You're just minding your business, crying out to God, God help me. And now God's like, okay, we're going to get you out of this place. And, oh, by the way, take all of this with you. So be prepared, you who are doing good in the world. Be prepared. It may be scary, it may be crazy what's coming. Maybe there's going to be like meteors and maybe there's going to be crazy stuff going on. I had a weird, terrible dream last night. Let me see if I can pull this up. I had a scary dream just last night where I don't even know if I pulled it up. I shared it on X where I was with Ethan. And man, it was a scary dream too. It was like the sky was like just beet red. And I looked up and there was a big problem with the atmosphere. Now, what's interesting about all this is I was talking to a good friend of mine who also is an outside of the box thinker, has ideas about things too. And we, ironically, were talking about this system, this dual system. It's topical. And he was like, well, what about the radiation that could come in? And I was like, I'd never considered radiation. Then I started thinking about when I go out and I mow the grass and I come back and I have a sunburn. Now I got to put on like 50 spray. And I'm Italian. What do I need to have 50 spray on, right? My skin is good. That sun is strong. So I can start worrying about that. Could you imagine two systems come in? We have a lot of stuff. A lot of people are saying that the magnetic field, that there's really a big issue with it. Animals have been for a while now. They're acting crazy because there's something going on. There's something going on. Tomorrow, there is a new moon. So we have these planets lining up. We got the Starship launch. We got Garcia's weird little prediction. And then we got this new moon, which, by the way, is happening on a very high holy Hindu holiday. Now, I don't know much about this holiday, but I do know that it's connected to the birth of the anniversary of Lord Shani, who is a Hindu deity associated with who? That's right, planet Saturn. Planet Saturn, my friends, celebrated by devotees who seek the blessings for protection, good health, happiness, as well as to alleviate, listen, the negative effects of Saturn, judgment. Now, it's also on another holiday. I'm going to probably pronounce this terribly wrong. Vatsaviti Vatsafrashri. I hope that didn't offend any of you. But when I can't pronounce something, I really mispronounce it so that it takes away from my feelings of insecurity. But it's also known as Vatparinya, and it's a Hindu fasting. Now, here's weird. It's a Hindu fasting associated with marriage. Getting ready for, it's observed by married women for their well-being and their longevity, and for their husbands. They pray, get this, they have rituals, and they do it all under what? The banyan tree. Remember I talked about the banyan tree a lot? Banyan tree is very symbolic. Remember what happened just a little while ago? Was it Maui? With all the fires. That banyan tree that everybody said was burnt to a crisp, it was done, it was toast. This historic banyan tree that was like a symbol of the resurrection of Christ. It was gone. And we prayed and we said, oh, it's going to come back. And it came back. Guess who else has a banyan tree? The Trumpster. Isn't that interesting? That's right. One of you awesome Israelites, if that's what you want to be called, the lights. We're supposed to be the lights of the world. Israel, one who overcomes. We're all Israel. We're all Jacob. We're all Israel. We're all doing the best we can. God said, behold my son Israel. I call Israel out of Egypt. It's a picture of a people, not just people living in a certain area, in the world, but a people that are seeking God, that are doing the right thing, that are getting ready for their marriage. Now, in the Christian faith, everybody's waiting for the bridegroom. They're waiting for the marriage supper of the Lamb, if you will, where the Lamb comes in and the bridegroom and the bride, they meet and they become one and they have a marriage. It's the thing. It's the parable of the 10 virgins. You're supposed to have the oil. A lot of people don't have the oil. On the show, if you've been watching for a while, oil is symbolic of wisdom, of the truth of God, to have understanding, so that when Christ comes, when a manifestation of Christ is here in the land, you'll understand it. That's why if you don't have any oil, you should go out and get some right now. That's the overall story. But in this holiday, it's a very similar thing. You need to fast. You need to get ready. Who here in the live chat We got a lot of people. Oh, we got a lot of people here already. Some of you must have hit the like button. Thank you very much for hitting the like button. And by the way, check today to make sure that you're subscribed. And if you are subscribed, check the bell for notifications. And you can't even really guarantee that that's going to be a thing. I'm here every other day. I do a show every other day. Just go Jacob Israel, go to my page. Look up a video or a live show or whatever. Just see my content, whatever's there, so you can watch it. Don't trust that it's going to be put in front of you, right? You know where the well is. Come to the well, get a drink, make sure you leave with Christ. Otherwise, you're going to thirst again. And then you're going to be like, oh, where were you? I haven't seen you in 8 years. Zechariah, thank you very much. Zechariah writes with the super chat, the Lord will reward his children accordingly, seek his kingdom, do fellowship like this. Thank you, Jacob, and God bless. Thank you, man. And God bless to you, too. Appreciate that. That's really nice. And that's the truth. Seek first the kingdom, everything will be given to you. That's why those that dwell in heaven aren't worried when the devil comes down upon you. Same time all this happened, devil comet close to the earth right now. Devil comet closest to the earth right now. Spooky. You know, I had said in past videos, I said, well, maybe all these things that they did, like, where they locked everything down and all that stuff, maybe it was like a practice run for something that they think is coming. Maybe the reason why they rushed to the DART mission, gonna knock the asteroids off course. These are things that the whole world all of a sudden has done. Maybe the reason is because they had a feeling something might be coming. Do you remember a while ago? I don't know, maybe it was 5 years ago. I can't remember how long ago it was, but there was an observatory that was shut down. The Black Hawk helicopters that came, and then all of a sudden the Arecibo huge telescope that was like damaged, broken. Then all of a sudden Hubble was like broken. Then all of a sudden, all of these things that would give us information about what's happening out there, all of a sudden they're toast. It was weird. It was suspect. And that was around the time that I was talking about all this stuff with Nibiru. Nibiru, if you don't know anything about it, the Sumerian mythology, it goes back a long, long time. So much so that the Vatican in 2020, their nativity scene was Sumerian mythology. They literally had an alien astronaut holding like a spooky red baby. It's very weird. It was all inspired by all of this. They have the emerald tablets, and you probably heard of the books by Zechariah Sitchin. I didn't know about any of this stuff, but for whatever reason, Lord brought it to my attention, and by that I mean I was inspired, and I couldn't get away from it, and there were so many things that I went knee deep into it, and I just started sharing, and that was like 8 years ago. That one video that really kind of started everything 8 years ago from today. And here we are talking about the same stuff. Joe Rogan's talking about it. All of a sudden, mainstream news. Back then I said, I don't believe in aliens. Now they're like, oh, they are. Every other week we got like some mall where you got like giant aliens walking around. Strange. So they have this great holiday happening same day. Honoring Saturn, same day. Last year, Diablo is out. Lilith, the one who comes down, the queen of the demons, to bring judgment, retribution. Same day last year. Lot of weird things. Now we got the SpaceX launch. Now this is where we're going to get into like the, you can't explain this. You can't explain this. This is too much. So you'll probably notice in the center of the screen, that's a dates in between. I do this a lot. I don't know why. Alan, why do you think I do this? Thank you for the super chat. Why do you think I have to, I can't just say, oh, I did a video a while ago. I can't just show you the video a while ago because it's not good enough unless there's a specific certain amount of time with numbers that I talk about a lot. And then it's like, okay, that's really a confirmation that there's something going on. I had a weird dream a while ago. I think it was like 2 years ago or something. 2 years ago, it turns out it was like 2 years, 1 month, and 22 days ago. I have this weird dream. about the SpaceX rocket that just like, it just came down and then it was like a big bada boom. A big bada boom. Somebody's going to get a kick out of that. Big bada boom. I had this dream. I didn't know what it meant. I just, but I put it out there and I talked about it in the video. And you'll take a look that in this video from 2 years, 1 month, 22 days ago, something weird is happening. The crash is on its way. That was on April 15th, 2022. Now, just a little while ago, I had said, because you probably know, years ago I said, oh, Elon and Trump are going to come together. It's going to be like the Wonder Twins, Apollo and Artemis. I did a whole show about this. And then 23 weeks before Elon announced he's going to have a space with Donald Trump, I put out a post 23 weeks before that saying, hey, when are you going to endorse Donald? And when are you going to do it? Why don't you do a space? I said that would be a good way to do it. 23 weeks. 23 is that like that Illuminati number, right? I don't know. I got to tell you something. For those that are watching right now, I'm not in any special clubs. On the lives of my children, who I love very much, and my wife, I'm not connected to any people. Nobody pays me except for trulyfreehome.com, which, by the way, is like just the best product ever. Unfortunately, people aren't using code Jacob. I got like 2 people who said, oh, I'm getting my stuff and it's awesome. I'm like, did you use code Jacob? It's like, oh, no, I forgot. Or it didn't work. It didn't go through. I'm like, use code Jacob. You save 30% off. You don't get any product that has toxins or anything else. You can clean your floors and then walk with your bare feet and not have to worry about getting any forever chemicals or whatever is in the bad stuff that we spend a lot more money on. And they send it to your house. It's reusable. This is my sponsor. But like Steven's not telling me, oh, you better talk about this or that. No, nobody tells me what to say. Nobody tells me what to say. He's a fan of the channel. It's the only reason why I took him on, because he's a man of God too. So if you want to help the channel out, that's a good way to do it. trulyfreehome.com. There are links in the description of the video. If you go to the video and you come over here, I think it's like down here, you click on it, you'll see, it'll just bring up, there'll be a bunch of links. You can connect with me on Patreon. You can connect with me anywhere. PayPal, there are people that support me on PayPal. I appreciate it. Any way that you can help, I appreciate it. I thank you. If you don't have any financial means, just hit like. Just leave a comment. Tell me how you're doing. Share the video around. Tell people this is strange. I've been watching you a long time. And it's like every other video lately, it's really right on the money. So this one, 2 years ago, 1 month, 22 days ago. Or, get this, remember those numbers 111? Which means, correction for those people that are being like abominable, 111 weeks and 6 days. June 6th, look out below. Something weird is on its way. SpaceX got their window. The FAA gave them their window, and we're talking about the 80th anniversary. We're talking about a video from 8 years ago. And guess when their window starts? 8 a.m. Go figure, right? Nobody saw that one coming. Nobody saw that one coming. I got to tell you, it gets to a point where you just think to yourself, if anybody's stressed out at this point watching this show, if anybody doesn't have faith at this point watching this show, if anybody's acting like a meatball and not like enjoying their life and giving love to their family, if you're not hugging your wife and your husband and you're telling them you love them, and if you're having conversations with people and you're trying to, have intimate relationships with people that are outside of your marriage because you feel like you're not getting it in your own marriage, you know what you need to do? You need to do what me and Dan do. Focus on each other. Focus on each other. It's awesome when you put the person you love first. It's awesome. That's why I do these shows now. I could do them later, probably be better, but I do them now because I know she gets home around like 4:30. Now it's 5 o'clock because we started a little bit late. But my friends, now's the time. Make peace with people that you're in pain with, you're having issues with. Stop thinking the worst. If you have a dream, it's time to set out for that dream. And I'm not saying be irresponsible. You got to always make sure you're taking care of everything. If you have bills to pay, you got to pay your bills. You got tax to pay, you got to follow the rules, right? You play by the rules, you do things fair, God will bless you. That's the way I roll. And then you go to bed at night, you sleep okay. Be kind, do things, neighborly gestures, help people when they need it. You see somebody who is having a problem getting into the line when you're parked, you're driving at the light, let them in. Little things you do, it's like storing up treasure in heaven. This is the day, because the flip, remember the flip that I was talking about for a long time? I said the flip is coming, the switch is coming. I feel like that's the June 6th, because you know what happens on June 6th? Whew, this is really cool. This is really cool. This new moon that we're talking about, this new moon that these women have been preparing themselves for a marriage, for how long? Been doing it for a long time. Been doing it for a long time. They're getting ready. They have this fast. And now here it is. The new moon is leaving Taurus and it's entering into Gemini. The twins. The twins. I'm a Gemini. I'm June 11th, 1971, baby. Any other Geminis out there? Let me know. You could just let me know, whatever it is. I'm not into the astrology, but I do know that the fact that the new moon is in Gemini and is leaving Taurus, this is like a big deal. I even listened to somebody who's supposedly really good at this stuff. I listened to it while I was working. Got the lowdown. Transition time. Transition time. Maybe, when I'm worried because I have this terrible dream, the SpaceX thing comes up, or some kind of a terrible, something happens. I'll worry about that. We got meteor after meteor flying in. Maybe. The video that starts it all, 8 years, 1 month, and 11 days beforehand. There's the 8 and the 111 from June 6th. It's just, all of it is, it's freaky. It's freaky. Let me just show you so you know I'm not making up stories. There it is. There's that video. Nibiru, asteroids, meteor showers, and massive storms on their way. Massive storms are here. Because that's what would happen. If you have another type of body coming on in. And what could save you with this? How many people got big time underground shelters? All of the big wigs spending. Alan knows. Alan, you're an identical twin. He just said, thank you for the super chat. And you're on the 21st. Look at this, Alan. I knew I liked you for another reason. We're and you're a twin. You're a twin. That's cool. You probably have superpowers. You can read each other's minds, do all sorts of things. Hope you're not being naughty and, tricking teachers when you were in school. The neighbors across the street, Muhammad's children, Ibrahim and they go into class and they sometimes switch teachers. Just don't tell anybody. It's funny. These being a twin, it makes you you can be a little. Jacob in the Bible was a twin. He was a fraternal twin. But it is what it is. It is what it is. But that video, 8 years, 1 month, 11 days. You look at right. I mean, that's strange. There's the number 8, and there's that 111 again. Our son may have been born with a troublemaking twin called Nemesis. We got 111 watching too. Be nice if we had that hitting the old light. By the way, if I reach, say, 2,000 people today live, it probably won't happen. It hasn't happened in a long time. I will shave my beard. That's what people do sometimes. But if you take a look at the bottom of this screen, you'll see this guy. I think his name's Carson. Ben Carson, Billy Carson. And he was just on Joe Rogan. And guess what he was doing on the old Joe Rogan? He was talking about the Anunnaki. He was talking about Nibiru. He was talking about Nemesis. Nemesis. This Nemesis thing is going to freak you out. I hope you're paying attention. This is going to freak you out. So weird. This whole thing is so weird. Let me tell you why. So, you know, we on the channel, we talk a little bit about the old, the Musker, Elon Musker. Most powerful man in the world, you know, richest man in the world, probably one of the funniest men. Somebody that we all really do, we root for and we pray for. I'm always praying and hoping. I'm like, you know, my prayer from years ago was like that this man would watch this show and that I could inspire him, because you want God to have people in place that can do the right thing. Do the right thing, get the right thing. I believe God's in charge of everything. I really do. I really do. That's why it's hard for me to, you know, point fingers and say, oh, this is, you know, against God's will. God sometimes does things that, you know, when people get out of line, doesn't seem pleasant at the time. Doesn't seem pleasant at the time. It's called correction. Just when you're at the gym, when you're working out against something, that's not pleasant. It hurts, but you grow from it. That's what this is all about, people. It's about growing in grace towards the kingdom of God, moving on to becoming who God created us to be. So he put out this weird post, and he said, because Mario Newfall said, next starship taller than the Great Pyramid. Everybody's talking about the Great Pyramids. They were talking about how the stones get together and how strange it is, how it all just fits so perfect, right? This is what they're talking about on Joe Rogan. This is what they're talking about everywhere. And they're connecting it to Nibiru. They're connecting it to all of these stories and all these things we talked about on the channel. Started talking about 8 years ago, 1 month and 11 days. So he put out this post and he said, I love monuments to hubris. This is where it gets freaky, people. So smash the like right now. Make sure that you share this around, because not everything is what it seems. The scriptures say that, you know, God speaks in parable. Jesus spoke to pretty much everybody in allegory. He says this. In parable he speaks. And unto others he did not speak. He actually said at some point, now I speak plainly. Parable is an important thing, because if you're not ready to hear the truth, if you're not ready to hear that there's another solar system coming in, and that we're going to be in for the hardest time of our lives in the near future, you're not going to be able to hear it. So you get these parables, you get these allegories, you know, which, by the way, I've been actively praying and hoping, you know, when everybody was saying WW3, I said, no, it's not going to happen, right? You remember me. I'm trying to actively use my faith for good. You could do the same thing. What if we all got together and did that? What if we all chose to just live a good life? God decided that he was going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. Abraham got into a bargaining match with him. At the end, he gave up. But God told Jonah, go to Nineveh and tell them to get their act together. Tell them to repent. Tell them Nibiru and Nemesis and a whole other universe is coming, and it's going to smash this planet to bits. Not like you're going to die, but like it's going to stink. Unless you repent. That would be the equivalent. You know, 3 years ago, there was a guy, a lobster diver. Lobster diver. That's how you say it if you're from Long Island. Lobster diver. Michael Packard is his name. Michael Packard. We talked about him. I did a whole show about Jonah with him. That was back in 2021 on my birthday, June 11th. Now, if you remember correctly how that story goes, Jonah was in the belly of the great fish for how long? Come on, tell me in the live chat. Let me hear it. Leave me a comment. Let me see it. Let me see it. How long was the Son of Man in the earth, in the belly of the earth, in the belly of the great beast? He's supposed to come. This time, he's in the heart of the earth. And the heart of the earth is the home. And we were locked in our homes for a little while. It's a picture of Christ in us. That we're almost that great fish. I'll make you fishers of men, Jesus said. Fish exist in the deep, in the darkness, till they're brought up on the shore, on the dry land. They can, right? And then they die of who they are. So it's a picture. It's a picture. Jonah, 3 days. So here we have Jonah 3 years ago on my birthday coming up. And it makes me feel like, well, you know what, maybe I don't need to worry so much. Maybe there is something good about all this. You're going to find towards the end of the show something that is so unexplainable and it freaked me out. I still don't know. I wish I could tell you I feel like don't worry. I just don't know. I don't know. But Michael Packard, he was in that great whale, and they called him Jonah. And that was 3 years ago. Now, April 8th, 2024, we had this thing called the Great American Eclipse. Now, that eclipse really only went through one place called Nineveh, 100%. But it was so close to like Nineveh and so many other places. 8 in total. Now, a lot of people like the 7 cities named Nineveh, but there was like 8. It's interesting. In the United States, I think there was like 6. Nineveh. And so what I did, because, of course, the cicadas were going off and there was so much going on, I said, well, maybe because of you. Maybe because of me and my house. Maybe if there was something that was, pretty awful that was coming, or maybe if there were pretty awful people that were in charge, maybe God has relented, and maybe what happened to Nineveh after Jonah said, please get your life together, do the right thing, just in case. Because I don't want to have to deal with an issue with the atmosphere and radiation, or meteors, or anything else. You look up radiation poisoning, it gets bad. It gets bad if that's the case. A lot of X flares happening. 80. So, I think to myself, okay. So I pray. I did a lot of praying. And I said, Lord, you got to tell me, is this thing coming? Is Nemesis coming? I literally prayed this. Is this Nemesis system coming before I came over here to start loading all the stuff that I had already prepared? So then I start loading it. Is Nemesis coming? That was my prayer. This is going to freak you out, freak me out. So we know that the Nemesis, it's connected to, of course, Nibiru. We know that Nibiru is also connected to the video that really made my channel kind of take off, and that it's from 8 years, 1 month, 11 days ago. We know that there is a lot of interesting things happening on June 6th. A lot of these things all coming together. I'm stressed out because people are talking about Nemesis, and I have this conversation with my buddy. And so I prayed, and I was like, you got to tell me. I'm like, I'll go to the Bible, or I'll go for like this or whatever, and I just wait for the answer. Is it coming? Is Nemesis coming? Now, who's Nemesis? Okay, let's get back to Elon before I smack you with that amazing. God, it's so scary. It's so scary. It really freaked me out quite a bit. He says, I love monuments to hubris. Because, of course, I'm thinking if there's some extraplanetary thing and we got to worry about Nemesis, I'm wondering, is hubris like a god? I know what hubris is. Is it connected to a mythological story? What if it's really a monument to hubris? You get what I'm saying? That's my thinking. I'm like, what if it's like a coded message? Now here I'm stressed out about Nibiru. I'm stressed out about Nemesis and everything else. And I go, I have to go to Elon's page. Because, of course, he's Mr. SpaceX. 8 o'clock, that their launch, that's their window. It begins. What's going to happen? Pray nothing bad, right? So I look up hubris. And guess what hubris is connected to? Take a wild guess. What are we talking about? Nemesis. Nemesis. Hubris is what brings about Nemesis. Hubris is where mortals are like, well, we don't need to have God, and we're not going to pray anymore. You know that Biden was the first president to leave the word God out. Now, I know that that's not God's name, but it's kind of like the overall, like when we hear God, we think of the creator of all. He left it out. On Easter, what did he do? Right? And once again, these holidays, they're based on pagan mythology. I don't care if you celebrate or not. It doesn't really matter. You know, the resurrection of Christ, it happens like every day. The day of the Lord is every single day. He said this to Martha. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait. You don't need to kill Christ and rise Christ every year. He rises once. He dies once. That's it. The question is, every man in his order. When does it happen for us? But on Easter, what did they do? They renamed it Hubris. Even in the trivial meaning, but to a lot of people, Easter is like, that's what they understand God to be, because back in the day they worshipped Ishtar. So, you know, it's like the gods, people are still worshiping the false gods. They're not living great lives, because if they had a true commitment to God, God would lead them away. They'd say, okay, you could still do the eggs and all that stuff if you want, but teach people that this is just a tradition of man and it's meaningless and it can't benefit you. But what benefits you is loving others. So he says, I love monuments to hubris. You know what a monument is? Something that is built like a grave or a tombstone or like a monolith. Remember the monoliths popping up? Tombstone. I love monuments to hubris. Hubris is what brings Nemesis. Nemesis is that system. You think they're connected? You got to tell me right now in the comment section. You got to say, I think it's connected. Wait till you see what's connected with me. So in mythological, days, hubris, it's pretty much in every story, right? We had Icarus had hubris when he flew too close to the sun. Prometheus had hubris. That's why he ended up getting, I think he got his liver pecked out or something. A lot of people had hubris and they paid the price. The question is, do you have hubris? Do you? Are you paying the price? I love monuments to hubris. Hubris and Nemesis are used together. They're not interchangeable. Hubris refers to specifically a character of pride, while Nemesis refers to the punishment and the result of the pride. That's like a secret hidden message to me. In my mind, I'm like, you're saying that you're built that because hubris is not a good thing because it brings Nemesis in. What if it's connected? What if it's connected? I don't know. But in a second, you're going to get the goosebumps. I got the goosebumps on this one. This is freaky. This is freaky. So we got this system that may be coming in. We got my video. We got tomorrow's D-Day, right? 80th anniversary. It's all connected. It's all connected. 8 everywhere you look. So I pray. Is Nemesis coming? True story. As I'm editing this show, I go to X because I put a lot of stuff on X. That's why you should follow me on X. I put little breadcrumbs out. I'd love for people to, when I post something, I put a little piece of bread. That's like, this is going to be in the show. I'm not going to tell you why it's here, but look into it because it's going to be cool if you do. Just follow me on X, Jacob Israel 71. I check X. I just created a one of these, like when you take a look at these, I create each of these individually. It takes a lot of time. I want to make things look nice and I do the best I can. So as I'm creating this screen right here, I get a DM. I get a DM from Michelle Alexander. Awesome lady. Great. She's been through a lot. Lost people she loved. It's like, pray for her. She creates these little AI things and she puts me in them. It's pretty funny. For whatever reason, I guess she created something a long time ago where she put me in the movie, the Sylvester Stallone movie, Good Samaritan, where he plays a superhero. But think of the irony and think of the spiritual message. Who is the Good Samaritan today? So I like the fact that I was in that movie. And she puts me in. It's funny. Let me show it to you. I don't want to give the cool part away yet. It'd be great if you could figure it out. I'm going to keep it blank, but you take a look, okay? Not now. And let's play this. Make sure that the volume's off. I don't want to get hit. So there I am, Samaritan. I mean, that's... I think it's pretty funny, And that's right, Samaritan. The movie's coming out. There I am. Superhero, old superhero. Just think it's so funny. Get hit by a car. I got to play this for you because this sounded like my voice. Oh, cool. Take a look at what it says on the screen. Take a look at what it says on the screen. That was the very first clip. I almost missed it because I thought it looked so spooky. I was going to cut it out. And then I looked at it. And then I read it. And it said, crime wave continues. Is Nemesis back? Is Nemesis back? And it's 18 seconds long, this clip. Is Nemesis back? Really? This to me is like, it's almost like, just feels like I'm living in a fairy tale. It feels like I am living. Is Nemesis back? I was praying, is Nemesis coming back? I was on a clip creating that. That was the first time that I put Nemesis up there. And she sends that over. I mean, it was like, what else can I say? At that point. So then the question becomes, is the crime wave continuing? Nemesis is probably going to come. But if you get your act together, maybe not. Now, once again, I don't know if there's anything coming. Nobody has said anything's coming. This is something that a lot of people have thought would happen for a long time, but it's not like anybody has said that this is going to be a real thing. But you see how weird it is that Michelle Alexander out of nowhere sends me a video with me playing the Samaritan, getting my butt beat, but the end result was I'm okay. It hurts. I'm going to be okay. Why? Because I'm the Good Samaritan, right? Because you're the Good Samaritan. This was a very fun show for me. Where it actually started, I was a little nervous. I got good vibes, but I don't know. We got to keep our eyes up. What do you think's going to happen? You think anything's going to happen on June 6th besides a really cool Starship launch, which starts at 8? I think it's going to be live streamed on X, so if you want to watch it. I know people say it's like an amazing event when you get there live and you see it. I won't, because I don't really leave my vicinity. I go home, gym, store, unless I'm going out with the Dan. We play tennis, by the way, because I've been thinking about all these things. And I'm like, you know what? When was the last time we played tennis? My wife's really good at tennis. And I thought, well, we'll bring Ethan. We had some fun. And my knee. Remember I had surgery on my knee? My knee. It's like I'm limping around again. So you can say a prayer for me. All right, listen. I got to go. I got to make some steaks. Sorry, I've gone a lot longer than I thought I was going to go. If you want, get a copy to Colin. It's the best novel going. It's going to be, you're going to see it's going to be a big deal. The movie The Mandela Effect is actually coming out, and it may be big. It's going to be, I was on like the cover of like the film section of Variety. They released the trailer. I put the trailer on X, so if you want, and by the way, if you want to be followed by me, just say, Jacob, will you follow me? And if I see it, I will. Or you can email me, or you can reach me on Patreon or anything else. I love you all. I hope you have a great day. I hope you go to Truly Free and Home and get some good stuff. Get some stuff. This is a great glass cleaner. I use this all the time. I don't have to worry when I'm eating food. Sometimes I spray it on it. Sometimes I just just spray it on myself because it smells like nothing. It smells like nothing. It doesn't have any crazy perfumes or anything. It's awesome. All right. Talk to you soon. Have the best day ever.